Welcome to the Model Frontier, everyone. If you're new to the channel, make sure to smash that subscribe button and ring that notification bell so that you don't miss a second of any of my great content. For those of you who don't know, I'm the Model Gamer. I build these models and help you hopefully try to build them as well. So today we're going to be starting a new model that I've been looking forward to for a long time. The fastest hunk of junk in the galaxy, the Millennium Falcon, iconic ship for the Star Wars saga, and kind of fitting since we finished the Enterprise up, sticking to the space theme for right now. With our first pack, let's see what we get. So the first thing we get in our package is our Fanhome welcome letter. It's just telling us they're happy that we're doing the Falcon build. It's telling us that we'll get it shipped once a month. Tells us to use the Fanhome website to manage our subscription. So a nice little welcome letter for us. Next, we got this brochure that tells us a little more about what we're about to embark on here. So when we open it up, it's telling us that we're gonna be building the Falcon. Tells us that our hull parts here are pre-finished and ready to use. Expert modelers can, of course, apply their own paint work, so that's a good thing. It explains the issues of our build. We're going to get Starship fact files, some secret of actual space flight, and then our instructions for the build. If we open it up, we get a nice poster telling us all about what we're going to see in the model. It's a 1/43 scale model, according to this. 32 inches long, 23 inches wide, and about 7.5 inches high. It's telling us it's going to weigh 24 pounds. It's going to require 6 AA batteries or an external 9-volt adapter. We'll have to get separately. Obviously, we're going to get working lights, moving parts, interior details. So we're going to be building quite a big model here. Next, we got our magazines. So each stage of the build has its own magazine. And as we saw, we're learning about the starships, about the Falcon, laser cannons, secret of space flight. And then we get our instructions. So every issue is like this. Of course, I'm going to be showing you the instructions on your screen as we go along with the build. Now, another cool thing we get are these. And these are Millennium Falcon blueprints. Now this is impressive because it is 1-to-1 the scale that our model is going to be. So now I'm going to pull the camera out to try to show this all to you. Okay, so I'm going to be honest. I was trying to figure out how I could show you this whole thing. And there's no way I can because I don't have enough of a camera space to show you. But just to give you an idea of just how big this thing is, I mean, there's my hand, which you've seen in many videos. And that's just on a portion of it. So this is how big the Falcon's going to be. Now, what's cool about this is this will give us an opportunity at the end of every stage to kind of just put pieces on and see how much of this we've actually built. This may not be an entirely accurate representation because obviously we only get the top part. We won't be seeing anything on the bottom on this, but it'll at least give us a sense of the scale of this thing. Then if we go on the back, we got just some extra little details, like this is showing us how the framework's going to lay out and how the radial rods are going to lay out, how all the internals are going to fit in. This is telling us it's the top frames up here, and then we got the top plating. It's going to show you how all the plates are going to go on. We got information about just how the interior sections are all going to work out. We got the same thing showing you the bottom framework, bottom plating. So we got an idea here of what this is all going to look like. And this is going to be good because if you ever get lost during doing this model and you just want to try to find, you know, your place, obviously you'll have all this stuff to help guide you to that. So good thing that they throw this in here. Obviously the star of the show is the front. But that's it. That's that piece. And now the stars of the show, at least for this first pack, are, here's our parts. We got pack 1 and pack 2. So you can obviously see you get a screwdriver in pack 2. We get quite a bit to do in this first pack, even though we're only doing, or you know, stage 1 and stage 2. We are only doing 2 stages in this, but we do get quite a bit of detail work and stuff to do. So it's a lot of fun. I'm looking forward to starting this. I can't wait to get into it. We are going to have a modification we're going to do on this, which we'll talk about beforehand. And as always, when we do a modified part, there will be a marker up here somewhere, either on this side or on that side of the screen, that'll tell you how we're modding it and why we're modding it. Or that'll tell you we are doing a modification. I will then explain to you why we're modifying it, show you how we do the modification, and then we continue on with the regular instructions. So without further ado, I think it's time to go back and let's get started with... So I know I'm excited. I'm sure you're excited to start building this model. I've been waiting for this ever since I first saw this years ago. I've wanted to do this model. I'm so excited I can't even begin to describe it. So let's not waste any more time and let's get right into it. So here's stage 1 of the build, and we got a few things we're going to be working on. We're going to mainly be working on the cockpit a little bit and the first of the quad laser cannons. So let's go ahead and open this up and get all our parts out. So this is what we need for the first part of our build, and to begin with, we are going to focus on this section and this. Where obviously this is a sticker piece, we're obviously going to fit over this part. So we're going to fit this over, so we got to take our backing off. I'm trying to find the best way to do this. Yes, I'd started. All right. What's recommended is you just pull it back a little bit, and then I would recommend using these on the bottom to kind of line yourself up. Once you're satisfied with where that is, you can pull the backing the rest of the way off, and we can smooth out back of the cockpit. And obviously, you know, you can see we're obviously going to be getting some lighting into this, so that's going to look really good. And then all we're going to do is we're going to take the base and we're going to push it into place. Hang on, stand by for 1 second. And there we go. So just like that, we've got the beginning of the cockpit. It is a little bit of a tight squeeze to get these in. They should just about go flush in there. They should almost snap in. And that'll be it. So that's the beginnings of the cockpit. Now we're going to set this aside. So now we're going to do the quad cannon, and these are all the parts we need, including the gold screws. Now these don't get labeled anything. There is a site, it's a Millennium Falcon builds, site. I will link it down below. He's got a nice little chart that tells you all the screws that we're going to be using on this, so definitely worth keeping on there. So we gotta assemble this. Now the first thing we need is we're taking this piece here, which doesn't looks like it doesn't really matter which way it goes. And we're gonna be putting these pieces on. Now, there's a stub here that has to be on the top and on the inner part. So it should it should go on something like that, where that is on the top and inside. That's how we know we've got this right. And once we get that in there, they want us to take this piece and it's going to go on the bottom here. And you can see in this piece where those parts kind of go in. So this is going to be very tricky to do. You know, I'm going to do this so that I can make this easy. These do come out if you, it doesn't tell you to glue them in place yet, but you can if you want. And then we're going to take the top section and we're going to put it, match it up like that. So that all those are in place. Once we're happy with how those go in, we're going to hold it together right here with 3 of these gold screws here. Just like that, and then when we put these back in, there you go. The quad cannons are in place. And with those done, that is the end of this stage. Obviously, we do got some parts left over. We're going to set those aside, I believe, until the next stage. So here we are with all the parts for pack 2, and we got quite a bit we're going to be doing here. We're going to be putting together some hull frames. Looks like we got the game board. We got another couple pieces for the cockpit. They give us a screwdriver. Obviously, we got this big impressive piece here that is going to be a piece we are going to need to do a modification on, and we'll get to that when we do. But the first thing we're going to do is we got to assemble some hull frames. So let's get those pieces out. So right here we got several bulkhead frames, the 2 that we had in the last pack and the 2 that we get in this pack. These are the 2 we had in the last pack. We're going to be starting with these ones. So for the first thing we're going to be working with, we are going to be working directly with this part, and we got it facing this way. Now, I will point out that these pieces all have the numbers right there. So if we want to keep it going consistent, we are going to keep using the numbers in one direction. We've also got a few connectors that we need. Well, the first thing they want us to do is use one of these two screw connectors. One of these. And then we're going to attach it right to here. There's no difference in direction. We're going to attach it there with one of the black screws. There we are, just like that. And I did find a little knack for this. I did find a little way to do this. Basically, I am using their screwdriver just because I wanted to get a feel for it. It does feel pretty good, actually. So what I actually did was I took the screw and I put it through the hole first, and then brought the piece to the frame to put it in. Now we're going to do a connector on this part. But for this one, they want us to use one of the four hole connectors. So we got one of these little square ones here, just like before. We're going to use one of the black screws. We're just going to attach it into place. There we go, just like that. Now you're probably wondering if I'm using oil on these. On these parts, no, because these parts are not, these aren't painted or anything, so you don't have it. So what you use oil for is to really cut through threads. Since we don't have any threads to cut, any paint to cut through on this, we really don't need to do that. Next, we need our TF2 piece, which is this label here. And we're going to basically be connecting it. Hang on, let me make sure I'm connecting this right. So we're going to connect this with, so if we're looking at it like this, like in the instructions, the letters are going to be pointing up. And we're basically going to connect it like that, using one of the black screws. Just like that, and then just as you'd guess, we're going to put another screw into the same selection at the 4-hole connector. Just like that. Now we're going to be focusing on this side. We need to put another 2-hole connector and a 4-hole connector in. Again, we're using the black screws for these. Just like that. And then we're taking this piece of TF3 and we're just continuing to line them up. So just like that. Another 2 black screws. There we go, just like that. And now we're going to prepare for the final section by, naturally, we're going to put another 2 connector and a 4 on here. And then, of course, we got another 4 to go into the corner here. Like that. And then the last thing, we're going to take this TF4 piece And it's going to connect right like this on these sections. Just like that. Now we can go back and make sure all these are nice and tight. And there we go. Now with those all nice and tight, even though we're not attaching it in any way, we got this like this. We can actually get an idea of what this is going to look like on it. So that's kind of where we're at on this point. So there's our first bit of frame. And you can see how that's going to look on there. But now that that's done, we're going to set this aside. We're going to bring out the hollow game board. Now this piece is metal. This is a sticker. And what we kind of want to do is, like, we're going to use these lines on here to match with the lines on this. So once we got the dry fit the way we want it, we're going to take the backing off. And then we're going to put the sticker on. Just like that. Then our hollow game board is done. Now we're going to do some work on the instrument panel. And we got the instrument panel backing and we got the stickers. The stickers have 4 holes on them that we got to make sure we line up, and it does curve. So what we're going to do is we're going to get this backing off here. And then I'll line up the holes we can see. And just like that. And we're going to put that on. So there's the instrument panel looking like that. And if you want to, you can bring your cockpit over and just kind of get an idea of how it's going to fit on here. So it's going to look something like that with your cockpit. So now that we got that out of the way, we do have this piece. Now, this is the piece that I said would need a little bit of modification, and here's why. If we look at the studio model for this, these are kind of this part here is out of line. It should actually kind of be turned a little bit. So we're going to modify this to fix that. So we're going to flip this over. And then the first thing we got to do is we got to break the glue that is right around this edge. Being very careful because we don't want to break this thing. It's going to take a few passes, so I'm going to go get this off, and I'll meet you back here when I do. There we go, just like that. So there's no real 2 ways to get around it. It does take a lot of work to do. You just got to kind of keep cutting away at it. Just kind of keep shaving away all this stuff till you can pop it out. If you do try to push it out, only push it from the outer ring. Do not try to push anything from the inner ring, because then you're going to screw something up and probably break off some of these spokes. Next, there is a little burr right here. You can see you're going to want to clip that off, because we're not going to need this. So clip that off there. And now I would recommend going and filing around this and around this just to kind of make things look a little better. So I'm going to go ahead and do that real quick. So once you got that ready, we're going to do a dry fit. We're basically going to line it up. We're going to kind of use these points here to kind of line this up. Should be something similar to that. Once you've got an idea as to where the fit's going to go, I'm going to put some super glue all the way around this ring here. Now we're actually going to glue it into position. Just like that. And once that actually sets there, that is actually now in the correct position. And we're not really doing anything else with this, but just as an idea for what it will look like, you can take your quad laser cannon and just kind of squeeze it into this part here. Just like that. With that done, all that done, that is it for this stage. That is it for this pack. Now we're going to go ahead and just kind of put it onto the blueprint and get an idea as to what we've got done so far. So as far as the first part of our build goes, here's what we're kind of looking at. We got the quad laser cannons. We've got this section of the frame and the hull, and we've got the beginnings of the cockpit going. So that is it. This is your first 2 packs of this amazing build. So that's the start of this model. I mean, we did quite a bit on this, not as much as you might think, but we're starting to get an idea of what this thing's going to be like. And you saw it on the life-size sheet. This thing's going to be huge. I can't wait to see what happens next in the next pack. I can't wait to go through this journey with you guys. We're going to be doing a lot of modifications, mainly painting and weathering. It's going to be a blast, and I'm looking forward to it. So thank you so much for watching. If you liked the video, make sure to give it a thumbs up, and I will catch you next time on the Model Frontier.